Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RB's Gadget Reviews. Today I'm showing you two smaller Formula 1 sets, both properly licensed, one from CaDA and one from Rastar. Let's start with the green one. This is the CaDA Kick Sauber F1 Team C44. It has nice packaging and, as I mentioned, it is fully licensed. There is a cool holographic sticker from Sauber on the box. Let's see what's inside. Okay, maybe you don't need to cut open both sides. The bags are not numbered and there is no sticker sheet, everything is printed here. There are interesting sprues here with the tools, like in some plastic construction kits, and some oddly supported parts that are probably printed that way in an assembly to make a really seamless result. We also have printed tires, the right size, so that's promising. The manual includes photos of the real car and the brick-built version. Apparently there is an option to build it for both drivers, another plus. We start with the chassis. This is an interesting part design that I'm not familiar with. Here is the first printed piece and we have to choose which driver's car we want to build. A9 is for Joe, B9 is for Bottas. I will take Valtteri, I like his hairstyle better. The next personalized elements are the driver numbers and the color of the camera pod. The assembly has an interesting mounting method on the chassis. These pieces on the side will cover the gaps. Here is a rather interesting structure for these angled side panels. This is the front axle and a nice printed steering wheel. Unfortunately, I ran into a problem. I'm missing a green 1x1 plate, which I need to replace temporarily, but don't worry, I will eventually find it at the end. And now the first pair of printed pieces comes out of the extra bag on the support. The yellow part is not needed. Look at the edges. It really is a full surface print. Here is the entire front wing assembly with all the printed pieces. It looks very impressive. Now we need to take those two assembly molds and take a single piece out of each. It seems a bit excessive to put two whole sets in the bag for just two parts, but hey, you get a whole bunch of tools to fix your F1 car. By the way, they fit here to simulate the front wheel deflectors. This one was tricky. I quickly found a 3x1 plate with the print on the side, but couldn't find the other, smaller printed piece. It took me a while to check the following steps and realized that it was another one of those pre-assembled pieces and the small part was this one. This is what it looks like when it's assembled. Here's a piece with a molding issue, quality control should have caught this. Another missing part, a black 1x2, I had to use one from my spare parts. This is the last set of printed tiles that came assembled, this time for the rear wing. Completely custom parts arrive, the halo and the rear view mirrors, which all look pretty cool. And finally the wheels. Printed, different width for front and rear, very nice Pirelli branding, I love them. Fitting them is another matter, you have to be really careful at the front, they're not that secure. And I found the missing 1x1 stuck to the underside here. Apparently I got one tile instead of the other missing plate, so there aren't actually any pieces missing from the set, just one replaced with a similar piece. And here's a very cool little plug that's not even a simple print, but has a 3D effect. It looks awesome in real life. Now let's take a look at the Rastar Red Bull RB19. It's also a fully licensed set, with nice artwork on the front and back. And as a surprising extra, you can see the two drivers on the box. Inside there is a large sticker sheet and 4 number bags. The sticker sheet is protected with an extra bag and has some quite small elements. The manual has some nice information about the real car and also photos of the brick-built version. The base is quite different this time, and here's something interesting. This piece has embossed content on the underside with the Rastar logo and model, similar to those found on the underside of diecast cars. Here is the front wing, it has the first stickered and also the first printed elements. A white cross axle here, interesting. Here's the entire front axle assembly. This is the first challenge with stickers. Here is this piece, printed on the top and also on the sides, but I have to add the yellow color with a sticker that wraps around the front, which is already a challenge, but then I had to add stickers for both sides, and of course they don't match perfectly. That was the best I could do. But the next step is even more confusing or more fascinating, depending on how you look at it. I spent about 5 minutes with this step, trying to find my previous mistake, because there's a big gap here under the slope when you attach it. But it's not a mistake, because you can see that the part that holds the slope is not fully attached to the studs below. Here comes this printed tile on the hinge. You can choose between two with the correct numbers, by the way. You can see that it doesn't fit there, but you have to push the assembly with the slope forward, and then it sort of stays there, half hanging on the studs and forced into position by the printed tile. An entire 2x4 brick in red, and another confusing move in the manual. We are at back 2, but now I'm supposed to grab those 4 pieces from back 3. Until now, back 4 contained the extras, like that rod or the printed tiles, but now I need to open back 3 as well. Here are some tricky assemblies to attach to the front held in place by that rod. Another clever solution to attach the side pod assembly to the main one. Clutch power was pretty good so far between the parts, but here I see a tolerance problem. The flexible rod practically falls out of these pieces that are supposed to hold it. It is quite a challenge to assemble the halo properly this way. We are now assembling the rear axle and the surrounding sections. Here comes the rear wing, then the rear view mirrors. These are custom and printed elements. Time to mount the wheels. The tires are surprisingly soft but still printed, which is quite unusual. I noticed another tolerance issue here. The narrow front rims hold well on the axles, but the rear wider ones come off very easily. You may have noticed that we have only applied a few stickers so far. We have to make up for that now. This is probably the legacy of diecast manufacturing again, because we end up having to apply almost all the stickers at once. This is quite a challenge for multiple reasons. Some areas are difficult to access once the set is built. Many stickers are spread over multiple parts, which makes this assembly impossible or can be an issue if parts fall off. And here's the last item that really shocked me, a sticker for the halo, which if you remember is a flex tube that isn't held in place properly anyway. I really did my best, but I would probably leave that sticker off. So, here are the two Formula 1 cars side by side. They didn't actually compete against each other. The Red Bull car was in the 2023 championship, the Sauber was used in 2024. Let's take a look at the pros and cons of both. The CaDA set has a huge plus with the prints and the lack of stickers, especially because the parts fit together very well. As I mentioned before, a lot of the stickers on the Red Bull are awkward because they are spread out over multiple pieces, and I still can't get the one on the halo to work. Both cars have printed tires with the correct sizes. I'm still fascinated by the soft tires on the Rastar set. I thought the manufacturers needed hard tires for the prints, but apparently that's not the case, so that's a big plus. Fun fact, yellow is medium, white is hard, so it's more or less accurate in this case. Part usage and build experience, both have good solutions. I probably prefer the Sauber more. It has more custom elements and some nice solutions. The front wheel deflectors are definitely more stable on the Red Bull, but the solution with the nose cone is very unstable. In terms of quality, both has good parts overall. Although I had fit issues with the halo and wheels on the Rastar set, the CaDA car has an issue with the one of these antennas being loose at the rear. Price-wise they are pretty similar. The CaDA costs $26.99 in the official store, and I bought the Rastar for $25.99. They can get both cheaper, but I recommend paying attention and buying from a reputable retailer. So, are they recommended? I would definitely recommend the CaDA set because the prints and custom pieces make it pretty unique. It will be interesting to compare it to the new LEGO release. CaDA regularly posts videos about their new sets on their YouTube channel, by the way. I suggest to check that out and subscribe if you like the content. As for the Rastar Red Bull, I would probably prefer to wait a bit longer for the LEGO release. So folks, please let me know what you think of these two sets, how you like them, and stay tuned for more F1 set reviews on this channel and the other one too. See you next time, bye bye.